The following is a special presentation of KDOW. Money Pulse. Monitoring the heartbeat of money. From Wall Street to Main Street to your wallet. Now here's your host, Dynasti Young.
All right, so I'm sitting here with Michael Jidkov of Reliable Auto Repair of San Jose. Thank you so much for joining today, Michael.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
So we're really excited to hear your expertise in this industry. It's kind of a weird industry right now. Things are changing. New administration's making some new things happen. And we just want to hear all about Reliable Auto Repair and what you're all about. You guys are located on Blossom Hill Road in South San Jose.
We're in South San Jose on the corner of Snell and Blossom Hill Road. We've been here since 2007 is when my family purchased the shop, and we've run it ever since. So if anyone out there is a native to San Jose, this whole auto repair lot has been here since probably the late 70s, early 80s. And we're just really happy to be here and be able to have a business in such a great area.
And Michael, what is your actual address on Blossom Hill Road?
It's 463 Blossom Hill Road, garage number G4, and then San Jose, obviously, California, 95123.
Excellent. So the corner of Snell and Blossom Hill Road goes visit Michael Jidkov and his family legacies there. So Michael, tell us a little bit about how you guys got started in this business.
So we immigrated here to the country in 1997, and my father was a mechanic from Russia, and he ended up working at various auto shops, doing what didn't require the English language. So slowly, as we, assimilated, I guess, learn our English and sort of moved up in that sense of the word. He ended up going to school, getting more certifications, passing tests and classes, and eventually had worked himself up to be a very, very capable and successful mechanic. And then when the time was right, he pulled the trigger and acquired this business, and the rest is history.
That's awesome. So how many years have you guys been there as your family?
Since 2007, so it's been about 18 years.
Yeah, about 20 years going solid, and that's great. So you guys must have a great reputation. And, I know as a woman, when I go into a mechanic shop, I'm not very privy on all the language and the verbiage, and just, I don't know how to fix cars. So it is always intimidating for me to go in and trust somebody. But can you tell me a little bit about your shop and what sticks out and why we should, trust you? I know that I personally love your shop, and I do take my cars there now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think you bring up a great point. I think a lot of people in this industry have the attitude that this business is a sprint. It is not. It is a marathon. And I think a lot of shops, there's a lot of good shops out there, but unfortunately, the stereotypes or the I guess horror stories, they have to come from somewhere, and we have. It's interesting. A lot of people come in for the first time, and they want to see their old parts, or they want proof, or show me this and show me that. And I used to take it personally, but then I realized, the people that are out there, can definitely take advantage of others. And, once that trust is broken, it's very difficult to gain it back. So that's why, everything that we do here is documented. You have pictures and or video if necessary. We have no problems sending technicians out with customers to take a ride and, confirm what it is that they're hearing and what they're feeling. We have no problems bringing customers in the garage and showing them, hey, this is the process of what we're fixing. Here's why we're fixing it. I think something that's enabled us to stay in the game for so long is just be a human being about things. Don't lie, don't over exaggerate. A lot of times I feel people will people will forgive you or give you room if you say, I don't know, but I will find out and I will get back to you. Whereas this sort of, yeah, it's all good. and then nothing gets done, people are less likely to forgive that. And they should be that way. They shouldn't have to put up with, half answers or just saying anything that they want to hear in order to get them, and then, never really follow up with them or view it as a transactional thing. I think a lot of times, this business especially is relationship built. So we have relationship based rather, I'm sorry. We have multiple generations come to see us, great grandparents, grandparents, parents, children, grandchildren. And I think that, like many things in life, it's, about actually taking an interest in people and their cars. I know that when anyone's coming to see me, it's not, I mean, sometimes it's to say hello, but mostly it's because something is wrong. And I think that the more effective you can be at taking away those problems and being able to communicate with people and, not have this elitist attitude of, well, who's the mechanic here? That kind of attitude. That's what has enabled us to stick around for up to this point and hopefully for many more years.
That's awesome. So the mechanic for the people and their whole
Right.
family.
Or
I
by
get
the
that.
people. Yeah.
I love that, Michael. Thank you. You had mentioned before you have that trust with your long time people that bring in their generations of family. You said, we want to see pictures as consumers. We want to know more. And I know you do something really great from personal experience. Your bumper to bumper inspection. Can you explain a little bit about what that looks like and what you deliver to a customer when they're coming in for some kind of diagnostic or want to know the health of their vehicle?
Sure. So I think a lot of times when people come in, they come in with a specific problem. For example, a certain warning light is on or the vehicle is leaking. We feel that in order to make the proper decision, you should know the state of things on the vehicle in its entirety, bumper to bumper. So let's say, for example, it'll be a $1,000 repair on the vehicle. I think it would serve people to know, hey, the brakes are going to be coming up soon. You already need tires. We found this in the suspension or what have you, in order to, be able to make a decision that's based on what else the vehicle will need. And, what is their intention? Do they want to hold on to this car for a year? Do they want to hold on to this car for 5 years? Is it a forever car? Does it have a sentimental value to them? Is this a car that's just, a backup vehicle that, is used maybe once a week or something like that? And yeah, that I think helps to build a lot more trust because, I'm not just going to tell you the bare minimum and keep everything, away from you. And later when you come back, in a month, you go, hey, why didn't you tell me, that this was going on? And these are all things that are asked at our service repair station prior to you dropping the vehicle off, meaning I need to know how you're using the vehicle. Do you even like the vehicle? Are you looking at another vehicle? So that way it gives us a way to narrow down how to prioritize any repairs that it needs. Now, following up to that, we do take pictures and or video if necessary. I found that using the system, which we started doing a couple of years ago, I would spend, 15, 20 minutes on the phone with someone, and we're essentially playing charades over the phone where, hey, this gasket is leaking. Well, how bad is it leaking? Well, 0, if, 0 is dry, 10 is it shooting out, it's like a 5. Oh, was that bad? Well, it's not good. Oh, well, how bad is the leak? So, rather than sort of add extra stress to that situation, we take a picture of it. I highly encourage people to, YouTube or Google Image or, use resources to find out, okay, here is what a new functioning part or component or, piece of the car should look like. Here's what yours looks like. You make the decision essentially. And I think it's definitely saved us a lot of time in our operations internally. Whereas before, the technician is sitting waiting for me to finish this conversation. Now it's just pictures, video, everything is, put onto my plate and the technician can move on to the next job. Now, inversely, it also empowers the It also empowers the customer because they're able to take their time and review what the vehicle needs without feeling any sort of pressure on the phone to confirm or deny whatever the recommendation is. I highly, highly encourage people always to, read about what I'm going to submit to you. Ask me any questions you may have. And I feel like that has helped us with our long-term success and also build those multi-generational relationships that we were talking about previously.
Yeah, absolutely. From personal experience, Michael, you guys made me feel at ease. That report was very easy to read for someone who didn't really know much about cars. I mean, I was impressed with the fact you took a picture of my filter and it was dirty. I mean, people can tell you your filter's dirty 24/7, but it's like, is it really? I don't know. And that initial visit really, got my buy-in, and I take my son's car to you, and yeah, you guys are wonderful at your shop. And just thank you for everything. But yeah, everybody needs to know about that bumper to bumper inspection and the transparency of it. You even give recommendations on, is it pertinent to change now? Is it pertinent to fix now? Or do you have some time? And that's actually like so opposite of what I think when I think of a mechanic in the past. When I go in there, I feel like I'm trying to be sold on something and I'm just so confused and overwhelmed. I don't even know what I need, let alone all these other questions that are being thrown at me. So I definitely love your process.
Money Pulse, KDOW's financial news magazine, monitoring the heartbeat of money from Wall Street to Main Street to your wallet. You're listening to Money Pulse on AM 1220 KDOW.
I had to touch on, you guys are auto repair shop, right? So you guys don't do any body work or anything like that. What kind of services do you guys offer at Reliable Auto Repair?
So we can do mechanical repairs, anything from transmission replacements to engine replacements. In terms of the big stuff, engine and transmission specifically, it comes with a 3-year, 100,000-mile warranty, meaning if anything goes wrong in 3 years or 100,000 miles, you drop the vehicle off with me, hand me the keys. It's completely and entirely my problem. You don't have to worry about anything. All the way down to preventative maintenance. As I was going to say, I wanted to mention something too. People will call and go, well, how much is it for a tune-up? Well, what is a tune-up, right? Is that spark plug?
Right.
Is that the belt? Is that the radiator hoses? Is that I think a lot of times when the vehicles do come in, going through the maintenance checklist and individually assessing every single item rather than just getting this, oh, it's your 60,000 mile service, it's $500. And it's like, well, okay, what's being done? Why is it at 60,000? Where's the reference point coming from? So that's another way I think that we differentiate ourselves from other auto repair shops is, very granular, particular, pertinent information on every single point of the vehicle so that you can make the decision at the end of the day. And yeah, it's just about empowering the customer, I think. And what you said earlier about, just, feeling uncomfortable or feeling nervous, I think, not just ladies, I think, men and women would feel that to a certain degree. This sort of stereotypical, guy with the overalls and the wrench that's, like, drop it off and I'll call you when I get to it. That's long gone. It's the industry is changing. People are becoming more informed, more empowered. There's no longer any sort of, I guess, mysterious mist around how the car works. You can basically look up anything you need online. So, you have to be certain that, you're dealing with a populace that's informed. And, we've never had a problem staying or being honest. But I think that's great. I think that what technology has helped us in terms of being able to communicate with the customer and be able to have a digital platform on which we're both on the same page. Not only that, but also the customer's ability to go out and find the information for themselves. And I love that. I love people that take an interest in, maybe something that's a little bit out of their wheelhouse, but as long as you have interest and, you have a good attitude, you'll be among friends if you come here. So.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. So yeah, transparency, and you guys do provide all that information where I was able to put in a picture, like you said, on like Google Lens or some kind of AI platform, and it was able to kind of guide me in some directions. I mean, we can't always rely on that, but because you guys are so transparent in your report, it really just makes the job easy for the consumer to build that initial trust. And now you have it, and we're going to send it all the grandchildren one day to you, and we know that you guys are solid. I wanted to ask, so we talked about cars running smoothly, taking care of maintenance, things like that. What advice do you have for our listeners, for someone who's trying to keep their car running smoothly?
So I would say don't ignore the oil change intervals. I guess it kind of looping back to the digital inspection we were talking about. You know, it's not every single time that the vehicle. If you come in for a light bulb, I'll hook you up with a light bulb. Then you're on your way. I'm not going to lift the vehicle up on the lift, take off all the tire, and do an entire assessment of the vehicle. So that's done once every 6 months or 6,000 miles, whichever comes first. The interval that we get that from is the average person drives about 12,000 miles a year. Synthetic oil, now they have some, I don't know if you've seen commercials for it, where it's like 10,000 miles on one oil change. Again, I don't want to get sued or anything, but yeah, that's, I think it's a little overzealous. Just commonsensically, if you're commuting in the vehicle, if you're driving it all over, it would make it a good idea for someone that knows what they're looking at to get underneath the car twice a year. This way, that we can plan ahead, so we can say, okay, it's not leaking, but it's starting to seep, or, the battery is passing the load test. However, we see a little bit of acid on the outside of it. So this way, in those 6 months or 6,000 mile intervals, you would have time to plan accordingly, and to make sure that money is spent in a more conservative way, rather than hey, it's all good, it's all good, it's all good. Oops, not anymore.
Oh yeah.
Give me 3,500, or you can't go to work anymore. So that's what we try to avoid. But more so than that, I mean, that's, I guess, sort of from a procedural standpoint, but just from a business standpoint, do business with guys that you like. Do take your car to somewhere where when they pick up the phone, does it sound like they were hoping that somebody would call? When you come to drop off your vehicle, will they greet you as if you're a guest? Like if they had invited you to come over, would that be the reception that you're getting? And a lot of times, I think that those are a little bit more intertwined than we would think. You know, uh, the attitude of the person that you're going to be dealing with, and that you're going to be coming to an agreement with, to spend good hard-earned money for mechanical repairs on your vehicle, should be one that, if that wasn't the case, would you hang out with this person? Would you go and get a hamburger with this person? Some people look at it as a little bit more transactional, which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, people do business in a lot of different ways, but I think, in terms of a piece of advice to sort of get somebody going, that first interaction. I mean, I have people that I've been dealing with for over a decade. Yes, I mean, it's not necessarily the red carpet is rolled out. We have a relationship where they can just throw me the keys and go, hey, I need the brakes, give me a call, and that's great, that's fine. But those relationships, they morph into that. That's not how they start. And I think that to find a good representative of an auto repair shop is going to be the goal on the consumer side. And I think that also the consumer can do certain things to win a little bit of favor, or garner a little bit more appreciation on the repair shop side. Don't drop your car off with no gas. If it's going to need to be test driven, don't drop it.
Interesting. Didn't even think of that.
You know, um, if it's raining like crazy, be a little bit patient. You wouldn't want stuff dripping down your collar and on your face underneath the car. Let us bring it in, like let it hang out for a second. We'll air dry it or something, and just I guess on both sides, just be willing to give people a little bit of room. Something that I learned is, customers come in, they're not necessarily agitated at me. They're just agitated at the situation they're in. Everyone that comes here knows it's going to be money, and all they can do is just hope that it's not too much. So, sort of keeping those things in mind and being a little bit more, I guess, even-hearted towards it would serve both the business side and the consumer side well. And then, you have all your old school tricks, right? Like just bring some muffins or something, or, like we love that stuff.
Eat us.
Yeah, there's just like we always have candies like in our office, so it's I don't know, I guess if you give someone a snack and they like it, then it's that much more of a chance that you may not end up being best friends, but at least it'll make the whole encounter more friendly, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like a welcome. It's nothing is worse to call a business and feel like you're inconveniencing that business by calling them when you're seeking help.
Yeah,
So
like doing you a favor.
yeah, so it's very nice that Michael and his team are open arms with candies to hand out
Yeah.
and smiles to give and great service to give as well.
Yes.
You also said, you're someone standing there praying that they don't have to spend $3,500 on this trip, and they're freaking out. And one way to prevent that, like you said, to go back is to make sure to stay on your oil changes, and recommended 2 checkups a year with a mechanic or a shop that you trust, so that
Yeah.
you can stay ahead of those big ticket items.
Right.
I think it's really great. Is your dad still working in the shop, Michael?
Yeah, it's still me and my pops. So he's a lead technician here, and I am the one that does all the front of the office stuff. So, or front of house stuff, I think it's called.
Love it, love it. Yep. And if you're tuning in and you need anything repair related, call them at 408-229-1010. Again, reliable auto repair at 408-229-1010. Michael, it was so nice to have you on the show. Thank you so much for taking the time and sharing your expertise with us. We really appreciate it, and I enjoyed our conversation.
Well, thank you for the time, and anyone that's out there listening, if you need help with anything, just give us a call.
All right. Once again, reliable auto repair in San Jose, corner of Snell and Blossom Hill Road. Call them at 408-229-1010.
This has been Money Pulse, KDOW's financial news magazine, monitoring the heartbeat of money from Wall Street to Main Street to your wallet.
This is Dynasti Young. Thanks so much for listening. If you're interested in being on my show, please give me a call at 408-761-0150. Or you can email me at dynasty@salemsf.com. That's DYNASTIY @salemsf.com. Thanks so much for listening.